All right. So next up, we
Get
have
on with our jobs.
So we have ourselves next up, kind of on the same point. We've done the ladder predictions already. We've gone 1 through 18 now. We want to do a bit of an early All-Australian squad prediction.
Love it.
So we have made up our teams. We won't have graphics, but we'll be able to mention our teams. Do we want to go backlines, then your backline, then my backline, your midfield, then my midfield, kind of go back and forth and compare?
I think doing backlines first is fine. I think we do my backline, your backline, my midfield, your midfield.
Yeah, bang on.
And
Easy
then I
as.
think we'll finish with a bench. Just put 4 players on the bench. I don't know if you did a bench.
I did a bench too. It's all Australian 22. I'm going to put 22 in
Love. Okay, good. You didn't do a 23. You didn't do the woke thing. I love that shit.
We're on the same page. We're so good at this. We're so good. Let's go, baby.
No.
Oh, my miss. All right, backline. Let's go. So, in regards to what you had been saying about Harris Andrews in the All-Australian backline, I kind of want to replace him because I had put Brisbane in the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
And haven't put Harris Andrews in this backline. And I agree with you. I think he's going to have a breakout. Oh, breakout is probably not the right word, but a good season. Another really, really good season.
So,
and if
you've got Brisbane 1, but not Harris Andrews.
Yeah, that's what I had originally, but I want to change that now.
Okay, good.
So Harris Andrews would be in there instead of probably Hayden Young.
Okay.
I was going to have Hayden Young in there, but I'd put
Again, he could be also playing more midfield time this year.
that too. But my backline outside of that is James Sicily.
Yeah.
And again, I think I mentioned this before we cut. It's just, I think I'm a little bit recency bias at the moment, mainly because I've seen the 4 teams who played an opening round play, and I've liked how some of them have played. But we do have some similar ones, like Sam Taylor is one that I have on there as well.
Good boy.
The other one that we have the same of, Dan Houston. Sorry. Did you not have Dan Houston?
Did not have Dan Houston.
I thought you had Dan. Who else did you have
Dan.
here?
I had Dan Urioli and Tom Stewart.
That's right. That's the other one I had, Tom Stewart. I've got Tom in there. Again, he's going to need to play a big role in the back line, but I think he'll also get midfield minutes as they tried doing last year.
Yeah, probably.
But I think Tom Stewart will still mainly be a backman. Again, I feel like it's recency bias, but he absolutely could do it. Nick Blakey. I think Nick Blakey could be a great pick.
Yep.
And I think that makes out my 6. So it'd be Harris Andrews, James Sicily, Sam Taylor, Dan Houston, Nick Blakey, Tom Stewart.
Okay. Yep.
6.
Easy.
So in regards to reasonings, Sicily has, in the first glimpse shown that he's in his usual pest form in the back line. He's an incredible leader in there, continues to make outstanding plays, and now has given the opportunity to push forward to allow some change-ups there. And Sicily looks, he somehow did well in that position too. He played really well opening round. I really liked how he played.
My only concern with Sicily is if he's a swing man, does he do enough as a backman? Does he do enough as a potential winger? Because he could very well play wing. And does he do enough as a forward to go in any of those positions?
Yeah.
Because he could be playing a third, but that's not enough to take over someone in the back line, on the wing or in the forward line.
No,
that's
I
my
get
only
that.
concern.
I understand that completely. I think my thinking is he may get the backline pick purely off of reputation.
Yeah,
Because we've seen it before, right? I think some players, because they've been so good for so long, if they stick up to form, even if they're not the best player in the year, they'll still get the pick because it's that standard. They're expected, and often it's because it's captaincy or high leadership, something like that, that brings him in. Sicily being the captain of Hawthorn, absolute reason why I'd see him getting a spot over someone else. Sam Taylor, opening round was fantastic. And we hope that he stays that way for the rest of the season because he has been a gun for many, many seasons, but we definitely think this year could be the year. I've gone down Houston, and I think you had mentioned in your side of things that stronger teams, especially in the back line, right? I was surprised with the Jeremy McGovern pick last year, although he had a fantastic season. It was West Coast.
It wasn't even fantastic. It was one of the greatest back defensive seasons.
Yeah, and so maybe that's the reason he got it.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get over the fact that West Coast is 16th, man. And you're saying
we've seen people in 18th get an Australian.
Yeah, but for the back line?
Yeah. It's he genuinely some of his advantage.
Maybe I'm looking over Jeremy McGovern. But Dan Houston will be hit on a good Collingwood side. We expect not the greatest start from what I saw. Was he?
He wasn't playing.
Yeah, I was going to say he wasn't even playing, was he? No. Yeah, that's right. But Dan Houston could absolutely have another good season with a new team. Maybe that's the reason he doesn't get over the mark. But Dan Houston has absolutely shown he could do it.
Yep.
Last year, for example. And I think with a team like this, he will need to be at his best. Nick Blakey. He is not just a good player; he's also an exciting player. Runs from the back line. We've seen him kick big goals too, so he's effective in multiple areas. Good one-on-one defender when he needs to be, but obviously he's got that. He's that hybrid, right? He's a hybrid of the linking kick, the one-on-one defender, the one who can push forward a little bit to get that extra push in. And I think even though I don't have Sydney having the greatest year, I think I still had them in the top 8.
You had them 8th, like right on.
They were somewhere around 6 to 8. I still see Nick Blakey being a big reason as to why they're so good this year. And Tom Stewart. Tom Stewart has been a leader for quite some time, both in the back line and obviously this year. And a bit last year with the midfield minutes. So he's just getting more and more roles, more and more responsibility, and he seems to be taking it with stride. And the reason I had Hayden Young was because I believe with Fremantle's step up in the ladder that I had, I believe people like him needed to make a step up. He's absolutely primed for it. The injury doesn't help him, and so that's why I took him out for Harris Andrews.
You can still probably make it with 20 games played, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I'm not saying that he can't do it, but I'm thinking players like Harris Andrews probably could do it over the top of him, especially if I think they're going to have the year they're about to have. So
yeah, for sure.
So that's our backline. Anything that surprises you from mine at all?
Not overly. I think Blakey shout is fair. Dan Houston, maybe, because I just think there could be a bit of a biding time where he takes his time to get into this new system.
Yep.
Because it's very different to how Port Adelaide play.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Hayden Young, understandable. I just think that potentially he's not going to be in the back line. That's all. If he makes it, I think he'll probably be on the wing because that's where they put players like him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Other than that, perfectly acceptable team.
Yeah, look, fair enough. But at the same time, I guess my pick's kind of like that as well because my rock's Tristan Sherry.
Who would have guessed?
Exactly. Look, I want to be a little biased, right? Let me have a little bit of bias. So I have Tristan Sherry in there, and I think it's a realistic pick because he had himself in the squad last year. Then again, you could say Rowan Marshall should have been.
He was the best ruckman last year, and he didn't get into the All Australian squad.
Look, Darcy Cameron's also good, but I was more shocked that Rowan got booted over Darcy Cameron and Tristan Sherry.
Yeah.
I think in my head, I'm like, it's probably going to go to Gawn, or it's going to go to Grundy, or it's going to go to or Marshall. It's going to go to one of those three, that All Australian spot. So when I found that neither Grundy nor Marshall made it into the squad, I'm like, whoa. So as soon as I saw that Gawn was the last one, I'm like, okay, Gawn's getting it. Yeah, that's it. But I think Tristan had himself a fantastic year last year, bit of a breakout season for him. And I think if North Melbourne can improve, as my hopeful prediction had.
Yeah, you had them fucking 10th. Obviously, they're going to improve.
I think Tristan Sherry, that just means his game's going to be a bit smarter, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think he has the tools to be dominant, but often a lot of criticism I'd heard is that it's more just, boot to ball, not much thought in it. And that's a completely fair criticism. There was absolutely times where it happened. But yeah, I think Tristan Sherry, if North to improve, then he'd get the nod.
Fair dude.
Because I reckon he'll have the stats and a bit more of the favourable.
What's your midfield? Let's move on.
Yeah. I've got Caleb Sarong.
Fair.
Nick Dacos.
Fair.
Noah Anderson as centre.
Yep.
So I really was quite interested in your Brownlow pick for him. Well, not him being number one, but obviously him being in the top 3.
Yeah.
That was what I was really looking at. I'm like, it could be his year, They're primed with a lot of good players. He's now the captain for that team. He should most likely get himself a lot more involvement.
He's going to get probably more than 14 votes in his first 6 games.
Yeah, he's just very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. Last year was home versus away.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's the reason Gold Coast lost. It was home versus away. Yeah. They were really good at home, could beat anyone at home for most of the year, and then
they were
away
10-1 and then 2-11 or something away.
They sucked away.
Yeah.
I think they lost a Q Clash to Brisbane. That was their only loss at home. But Yeah, I think Noah Anderson, this could definitely be a big year for him. A lot of leadership now on his shoulders. And again, I don't have much hope in Gold Coast, but I really like the pick.
Yeah.
And I think Noah Anderson absolutely could. In terms of, I guess, I haven't really picked wingers per se. I've kind of picked five midfielders, really.
That's perfectly fine.
I've picked Bont and Cripps. They're just safe picks.
Yeah.
They're safe picks.
Yeah.
I was very scared as to who I was to pick for because I didn't want it to all be so similar. But I like my midfield picks of Sarong, Dacos, and Anderson. I think Anderson is centre specifically.
Yeah, I get that. I just had a moment of realisation. Marcus Bontempelli is injured for the first 6 weeks. He's not going to make the All-Australian squad off of 17 games.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah. Is it 6 weeks?
He could miss until round 5 or 6.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. He could get away with an early season injury. Unless he gets injured again midway through the season, then it's completely done.
I think I've got him in my team. I do. But I think now that I've just realised that, I could see him missing. But I'll still have him in my team.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree. The missing any games, right? It's probably the reason we've taken out Errol. I think. Yeah. I don't know if you've taken him out, but
he's missing
again,
like 2.
Errol's probably a more extreme, but Bont's not that far off in terms of like missed games.
Yeah.
But again, I think those are safe picks, and they can. Yeah. There's definitely someone wrong in here.
Yeah,
100%.
There's always going to be people wrong.
100% wrong.
Just
but people are often confident in their picks. I'm not confident at all.
I mean, you've got safe and you're not confident, so who knows?
Yeah, I know exactly. Like Bont could be out for a little bit. Sarong may not have the bounce we expect. Dacos could fall off. Who knows? I know that most of the AFL world hopes that Dacos falls off, but I hope not. I've got a lot of money kind of riding on him as well. So I'm actually going to make a last-minute change because I want to put him in a spot. He's not going to go into my forward line. He's going to go into my interchange, and I'll tell you why in a sec.
Okay.
So forward line, like I said, Nick Larkey, Jesse Hogan, Shea Bolton.
Yep.
Fremantle.
I was very tempted to put him in.
I put Shea Bolton.
Yep.
Fremantle are looking to have a good season, and so I thought Shea.
Only difference is you had him higher you had them higher in the ladder compared to me. That's the only difference, basically.
I'm even tempted to kind of switch him out with Charlie Cameron because again, I really like that pick. That's a really good pick. But Shea Bolton, I think, in a perfect situation to have a great season.
Yep.
Jeremy Cameron, he remains a really, really solid forward every single year and has even gotten midfield time before and still done well in there. So, I mean, Cameron absolutely has shown no sign of stopping that.
Yep.
I've got Heaney in again. I think Heaney can still do it, especially with less midfield interruption to start the year. He can have himself a similar start he had last year. And finally, Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, I should have had a Rankin in mind.
Yeah, I've got Isaac Rankin in there.
100%.
We both know how impactful he can be.
Yeah.
I think more in your case, I'm surprised he's not in there.
Yeah.
Over a Ben Ainsworth because
I very much regret doing that.
Yeah, you have.
I'm just making a change now. Yeah. He's in my team on my bench.
On your bench. Okay, that's fair. Like I said, Isaac Rankin is a very, very flashy player. Someone who can definitely change the tide and the momentum of a game. And not just that, he can get his hands on the ball when necessary. He can get quiet sometimes, which is what I kind of worry for.
But that's what happens with your forward midfielders.
Exactly. Like I think we're on the same page when it comes to those types of players.
Yeah.
We know that they're not always going to show out, but when they do, they show why they're so necessary to the club. Yeah, I guess in the sense of surprises, maybe people are surprised to see Isaac Heaney because they've seen him play already, and I don't know if he played like all Australian caliber, but it's one game.
Yeah. I want to make a change. When I talked about Bontempelli potentially not playing, I'm switching him with Heaney. I think given I have Sydney first, I should have had Heaney in.
Yeah. No, that's all good. I think, as long as we can like explain ourselves as to why we're making certain changes, I feel like it's fine to make those changes because I think while we probably made these lists in, 30 minutes?
Maybe.
For me, it was 30 minutes at 8 o'clock last night, which is like an hour past my bedtime. But I'm pretty solid and pretty confident with most of my forward picks. I wouldn't say they're safe. Like, I think Shea Bolton isn't a safe pick, but is a good pick.
Yep.
Same with Isaac Rankin. Again, it's the ones who are very on and off that are often the ones that change the most. So I'm confident with my picks.
Yep.
I like them. I think they're probably my safest picks out of my back, mid, and forwards.
Yeah, fair enough.
My first interchange is Harry Sheezel. This one will really... Tom Barrass as my second. I think with the situation he's in, and I expect Hawthorn to have a fantastic season, he absolutely could get the nod.
I just don't think he's good enough, honestly.
That's fair.
He never made it alongside McGovern. So why would he make it alongside Sicily and Battle?
Better team.
Are they?
Hawthorn over West Coast?
Then 2020 West Coast? The team like that?
No, we're talking about last year's West Coast. Because McGovern made it last year, remember?
Yeah. McGovern made it over Barrass.
Yeah, I know, because you mentioned of his season, right? But I'm saying Barrass is going to be in a better situation where more eyes and more positive outcomes look at him.
But less on him to do anything. He doesn't need to do as much as McGovern did last year.
I understand what that means, but at the same time, when things are going well, your actions and your stats look a lot better, right? Sherry had some fantastic stats last year, but no one was giving him All-Australian.
But he made it.
No, he didn't. He made the squad.
But he made the squad. No one was giving him...
We're talking about All-Australian. We're talking about All-Australian, right? Maxi Gawn made it because Max Gawn played for a better team.
So, theoretically, you would have Andrews, Taylor, Sicily, and Barrass as your All-Australian key backs. It's too much.
Fair enough. I think just with the situation he's in now, he's going to get the nod. Next up,
disagree.
I actually switched out Connor Rozee for Charlie Cameron.
Okay. Yeah.
And you'll find out why in a sec. It's in a different segment, but Connor Rozee out, Charlie Cameron in. Again, as I said, I really like the pick.
Yep.
The situation he's in, a fantastic situation for him to be realistically, although he'd absolutely love to have Lincoln McCarthy around him and Joe Danaher there to help him out. He's going to get more opportunities. And finally, Lockie Neal.
Yep.
Brisbane, like I said, number one. My thought was, is there anyone there who could beat him? McCluggage, Dunkley, Ashcroft. Ashcroft is one that could break out, but I don't think All-Australian squad maybe for Ashcroft.
I think that's still a bit too soon.
Yeah.
And Dunkley's not the type of player to make an All-Australian.
Yeah, which is... I personally can't be bothered with that type of sentiment because it's like... he doesn't play in an All-Australian way. What the hell does that mean?
It's more so...
But I also understand what you're saying, right? When you think of... I think it's just purely ladder type, like club ladder type situation where Lockie Neal is going to get put above everyone else because it's Lockie Neal. He's won a Brownlow before. Yeah. He's going to get that look. Yeah, he's won 2 Brownlows. Yeah. He's going to get that look over Dunkley. Even if Dunkley were to have a better year, even if McCluggage were to look more impactful on the stat sheet, Lockie Neal's going to get the nod if he plays up to his standard.
Yeah.
And that's my team.
Okay, fair enough.
So it looks like Tom Barrass was your biggest gripe with it all. And that, again, I understand the thinking behind it, right, in that even in a team where he shined next to and had Jeremy McGovern to help him out, he still didn't get the nod. But I think purely from optics standpoint, people will look at how Hawthorn are playing and equate it to, all right, who on Hawthorn is playing well? And they'll look at Barrass. They'll look at Sicily. They may even look into the midfield. They'll look at Day. They'll look at Newcomb. They weren't doing that with West Coast. The only reason they put West Coast's 2 play... Can you believe West Coast had 2 All-Australians last year?
Watermelon.
Watermelon.
Lloyd Milk and Jake Watermelon.
You still got the fat kid mentality, bro. You're always thinking about food. Oh, that's good. But yeah, West Coast had 2 All-Australians. Jake Waterman, because he had a breakout season and was in the top 3 for the goals. Sorry, I'm got a tears in my eyes.
We've got 2 shorts now to go through. Lloyd Milk and Jake Watermelon.
This shouldn't be happening twice. And obviously McGovern for his fantastic year. That's the only reason they looked at West Coast and said, okay, these guys get spots because they had outstanding outlier seasons. They didn't do that with Barras because Barras didn't have that massive outlier season.
No.
But his potential peak, I believe, could be all Australian
It's also
side.
So you're saying McGovern outshined Barras last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would Sicily then not be doing the same thing if he's also in your squad?
Not in the sense if Hawthorn are winning.
Yeah, I suppose.